a very good afternoon. This is vk3sl. These are the test missions on 160 metres afternoon sessions. Corona special, and we are testing comprehensively tonight. I'm trying to work with the main turntables to get some level matching and try and deal with a bad noise floor problem. There seems to be humbuckles in the system, and it's all linked in with the limiting and the audio processing. And the audio processing brings up the bad noise, and as one would expect, but it's a bit too ready. So I've been looking at refining adjustments here, and I was working on it this afternoon, and suddenly it was 5 o'clock, and I had to change tack. I don't want to disappoint all the non-listeners out there. I think there are a few listeners as well, and there's a streaming service. Now, when I do these next series of tests, the stream may get a very low level. For that, I apologise. It's a part of the game here. So I've got a record on the table here, an old laminated HMV pressing from the early 1930s with Odnoposov, who's the fiddle player, Richard Odnoposov. What a great name. Hard one to get around the tongue. And he's playing a version of Peter and the Wolf. Now, it's got a fairly low-level recording, so this will give me some idea of how things are going. So I'm going to be monitoring this, and we'll test it and see what happens. So I'll put another preamp in the system in between the main table. So it's sort of running into the desk at line level. So we've made that adjustment, but I just have to make sure that it's all happening as it should. Okay, so what do? We put the stylus on. We're live. 78's to air, VK3SL. vk3sl test missions on 160. We're just trying out different preamp configurations here, and I'm not entirely satisfied with that. There's a bit of distortion on the line. I'm just going to have a quick listen and see what the trace is like, so excuse a moment of dead air. Okay, bit of noise. Not brilliant, but it may be acceptable. Now, what I will do next is take a different tapping. There's about 3 or 4 different preamp outputs on this particular amp, and I will explore one of the other ones. And while doing that, while setting that up, I'll go back to our usual theme music. So let's continue. Okay, this is vk3sl. We're back on board and we'll try it again. And this time I've got a different output setting on the preamp. I get lots of popping through the headphones. I wonder if this is normal. Maybe it's maybe I can turn that off. Is that still happening? That's better. Okay. I know what it was. There was some distortion from somewhere else. That's okay. All right, well, we're dealing with one thing at a time. We'll put the record back on. Excuse the same recording of Mr. Odnos Possoff. That's the way you say it. German fiddle player, early days. I think he got stuck in Nazi Germany and was not entirely innocent, but that's another story. Wonderful playing, though, and let's see how we go with Peter and the Wolf. Take 2. vk3sl testing on 160. Yes, we listened to Mr. Odnos Posov. Yeah, there we go. Mr. Richard, Mr. R, I'll call him, Mr. RO. Yeah, playing Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf, a recording made on a laminated pressing for HMV around about 1932-33, about that period. And we're using it as test material today. I'm trying to get the main table back into order. We've had so many problems with it, and I really need to use it. And we've got the mag pickup for some recordings, but for others we can't use the mag pickup, and it's limiting the prospect of playing transcription records a bit. So I've got one table dedicated for the Vitatonics. That's the buyer. So that seems to be up and ready. We've got the SP10 for the vinyl. So this is a C table, which either is used as a preview table or for transcription records. So everything's got a purpose here. And as I've mentioned before, I like the idea of playing live records to air. There's something theatrical about playing the original source, cutting to the source. That's what I like to do. So we might play the other side, and I'll just monitor things a bit more. It's a good record. And we'll turn it over and have a look. And what do we have on the other side? Yes, Mr. Odnos Posov playing La Campanella. Yeah, this is a good record. This is the rondo from the, it's a rondo. What does it say? Rondo from the second concerto, Opus 7 by Paganini. Yes, of course, it's Paganini. I should have known. All right, we'll put it on the table. Now, I'm just going to monitor the trace, the SDR trace, the local one, and I'm just going to notice what's happening here and what sort of noise levels I've got along the way. So I'm going to fade out. I'm going to fade the mic off because there's a lot of background noise in here which will colour things a bit. So if I turn this off and watch the trace, I'll gradually bring the record in, and then I'll have some idea of how it's presenting. vk3sl, genuinely testing. Just heard La Campanella, played by Richard Odnosposov. Odnosposov. Yes, and he's a German fiddle player who hung around in Germany, I think. I have to check on that. I don't want to be giving the wrong information. He was a great player, and there were quite a few recordings of him around from this period. And yep, test material. We are testing live on air using original source material. That is a 78. And there's one particular table which I used to use all the time and it worked perfectly well, and I can't quite work out why it isn't now, why we've got this hum, and I've got everything transformer coupled and star earthed, and there's multiple earthing points, and they're all supposed to, refer to one place so that we don't get earth loops. It's by the book. Everything's by the book. It should be right. But it isn't. We still have some issue, but it's not terrible. It's not insurmountable. And I'm noticing on the trace that it's sort of hanging in there. So if you're listening and would like to give a signal report, any idea of how, if there's any objectionable buzz or hum in your experience, let me know. It's vk3sl at hotmail.com. It's the news station email address. So we're trying to work with that. And I'll continue. I think I'll put another 78 on now. Now, I've got one here of Jack Hilton's band, another laminated pressing. And this is one of his sort of extended play, extended mix from the 1930s, early 30s. It's Melodious Memories. And that's one of the HMVC series from the early 30s, and I'd like to have a listen to this. I have previewed it before, but I'll be monitor things as we go, and I'll be looking to see how it goes. I'll listen back as we play off the SDR even. I'll do that. So, Melodious Memories, Jack Hilton and his orchestra. vk3sl, and I might give the stylus a clean. I think we need to give it a bit of a clean. Into the groove, and off we go. vk3sl testing on 160 meters, and we're just doing some live tests with 78s to air. I'm just going to have a look at that distortion pattern on the screen, standing by. Yes, there's significant buzz. We will have to keep this as work in progress, I think. It's ongoing. We haven't quite resolved it yet, but I'm testing things as we go. And I have to find some other material. I've got a Vitatonic here. It's one we played last night, but I will give it another go. We'll have a listen. And I'm just setting things up. It's the Mr. McCoy's band, and we really don't know who they are, so it doesn't matter. We don't need to give introductions. But all we can say is music from the 1930s, and it's in high fidelity. And we've switched in the buyer. I think we're ready to go. vk3sl.
Shooting high, I'll never stop till I get to the top. Tell me why shouldn't I? You know it's you I'm after. You're my lucky star. I'm on a rainbow rafter, climbing up to where you are. I'll have a time, it's a climb, but I'll make it 'cause I'm shooting high.
vk3sl test missions on 160 metres. You've been listening to an associated recording program service Vitaphone Vitatone transcription record. And these 12-inch records in the Hill and Dale mode, and they're hi-fi, and that sounded astonishing in here. Lots of tings, and you get the full room ambience. It's got depth, it's got immediacy, it's got all of the intrinsic qualities we associate with recordings made 20 years later. It's an incredible institution. What Western Electric were doing in the early 1930s is next to astonishing, really. They set the scene, and it just took a long time for the domestic market to catch up. I suppose it depends how you look at it. But the technology was there, and they had condenser microphones, and they had quite low distortion, and just a great capture. So they were really recording for the future when they made these records, and I just keep coming back to them because they sound so real and they sound so immediate, yet they were made 90 years ago. So there we go. That's the story of the Vitatone associated recordings. And yeah, that's another one from the pile. We've got quite a pile here now, and I'm very grateful to Mr. J, who's kindly donated his doubles to this cause. Well, folks, I'm going to recourse to a vinyl now. I'm going over to the SP10 so I can go inside and do a few other things. We've been testing, of course, and we've used 2 of the 4 turntables here, and we'll certainly have the third in service. And just trying out different approaches to ameliorate some of the noise floor problems here, but that's always a challenge, and we'll have to keep ahead of things. I have a feeling there's preamp issues as well. It's all complicated, but who cares? All right, A Night at the Proms is the name of this world record disc. This, I don't know where this came from. Might have been in my grandfather's collection, I'm not sure. Anyhow, it says A Night at the Proms. Sir Malcolm Sargent conducts the BBC Symphony Orchestra with Joan Hammond, she's a local, and Shura Chakasi, who's not a local, is a great pianist. And he had a long career. He died about 25 years ago, and but he was an old man when he passed on. This record was made in the 60s, and it features a whole stack of sort of upbeat Night of the Proms, rah-rah-rah, fully charged recordings, and I think it's good missions fodder, very good missions fodder. In fact, we even get a pomp and circumstance march at the end. So let's hear something quintessentially British in presentation, although the music comes from a variety of sources. Let's see, SP10, switch that in, and we are ready to go. I have to turn the buyer off. There you go, buyer off. Let's see, vk3sl. Testing. transmission from vk3sl.
No, to not do. I'll write another. Yet how begin? What can I write? I know not what to say. To you, though it were better, far better not to write at all. For if you read this wretched letter, you'll think me lost beyond recall. Yet have some pity on my folly, oh take compassion on my pain, treat not my love with cold disdain. Within my heart to hide it, and never 'twas so would I for shame confide it evermore, unrevealed, locked up forever in my secret heart. None but myself alone should ever know it. To this lonely place, what instinct have you directed? I never might have seen your face. In friendly shelter here protected, my heart would never have suspected what passion's flood could mean, and so some other man could come to take me, and happy wife and mother make me, like my dear mother long ago. No, I could never bear it. I could not be another's wife. My destiny with you I'll share it. You are the master of my life. Only for you I was created. You were created but for me. By God's own will we two were mated, one flesh in life and death to bear. Oh, did not dream I heard you speaking, and loved you we ever met. Dream that I never could forget. within me, wildly beating. And then at once I knew I loved you, loved you. Was it not you whose voice made answer when to the saints my prayer I sent? Who taught me mercy and compassion, and to the suffering for my footsteps so often led? You at the altar knelt beside me, you in the way of truth did guide me, the way of love to me did show, awoke in me a new emotion of mystic rapture and devotion. But never before my heart did know. Pity show me, I implore you, I implore you. Tortures me to madness. In silent anguish I shall die. I wait for you, I wait for you to come and save me. My hopes on you alone depend. Or will you bring them to an end and cast me off? Alas, just coldly cast me off and leave me.
This is a test transmission from vk3sl. What a beautiful tempo for the Dvorak Slavonic dance. I've never heard it played so slowly, and it works really well. Fantastic. We're listening to A Night at the Proms. Sir Malcolm Sargent conducting the BBC Symph back in the early 60s, I expect. This is off an LP, an old world record LP, which has been sourced from English master tapes and released here. And, well, I think we'll turn over, have a listen to side B. This is vk3sl, test missions on 160 metres in the narrowband FM mode. Also, we're streaming online. You can find the stream via my call sign, vk3sl, as a channel name on YouTube. Have a look, and thank you. Many thanks to emails and notes, and specifically to Mr. Stew out there in Paru land, and thank you for the signal report. I don't know if it's up holding as well now as it was, but if so, you're hearing me, thank you for that, and we'll stand by. It'll have to be a bit earlier for me tonight for a QSO, maybe about 9:30, 9:45. We'll see how we go. All right, we'll turn the record over, and we'll have a listen to side B. I'm spinning it, I'm looking, and we'll give it a clean. That's what we do here. We have to give the record a clean. That's all very theatrical. There's a process here. Involves cleaning the record, cleaning the stylus, give the stylus a little bit of a sweep. Got a tiny little brush here, it's like a toothbrush. And it gets the fluff off the needle. And we're in the groove, and we're going to have a listen to the Fête Polonaise by Chabrier, then the Andante Cantabile from, it's one of the Tchaikovsky string quartets, I think, arranged for orchestra. And then we have the scherzo. Oh, this is wonderful. The Litov scherzo from the Concerto Symphony No. 4. It's brilliant. I love that piece. And finally, a Pomp and Circumstance March. Now, having said all that, I've probably well and truly started, so we'll go back to the beginning. And we'll re-cue with A Night at the Proms, VK3SL. test transmission from vk3sl. This is a test transmission from vk3sl. The Proms. You've been listening to the BBC Symphony Orchestra with Sir Malcolm Sargent from the early 1960s. That's off a World Record Club LP, highlighting the events. And yeah, it's such a fun work to play, I have to say. It is a great spirited piece. It's got so much verve and patriotic, happeningness. Anyhow, we're going to move from the patriotic to the personal now. Something very sort of quiet, introspective, and we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to go to 7 o'clock tonight. I'm sorry, Greyliners, if you're queuing up. Please let me know if there's a problem. Contact me on vk3sl at hotmail.com, and I will cease and desist. But, I'm on a roll. We have here George Enescu's Impressions d'Enfance, a work for violin and piano. This is a very personal work of Enescu's great Romanian composer, violinist, conductor, musician. He was an extraordinary character. I won't go on with the rave. You've all heard it from me before. I hold Enescu in highest esteem. And it says here that the first major work to fall from Enescu's pen during the war years was his Impressions d'Enfance, as a partly autobiographical suite of 10 evocative miniatures stemming from the composer's earliest memories. As such, it is among the more obviously programmatic of his works, and in this respect bears broad similarities to his third orchestral suite. I might play that tomorrow. It is a romantic and sweeping piece reminiscent in places of the works of Isai and Szymanowski. Enormously expressive in a reflective sort of way, it is not as overtly Romanian as some of the works written at the same period, but nonetheless has unmistakably national roots. So it's got 10 movements. It just evokes the environment, the setting that Enescu grew up in, and in an incredibly personal way. I let the music speak for itself, and we won't finish with our usual ending today. I think I'll let this sort of ride out. It goes for about 20 minutes. It's some of the most beautiful music that I know. vk3sl, waxing lyrical. This is a test transmission from vk3sl. At this point, I'm going to fade. This is vk3sl. We've been testing on 160. We do this every night. And I wasn't aware that there was a contest. I couldn't see it on the SDR. So with apologies, if anyone is trying to use this space, there's not a lot of space on 160, so I'm sorry. If it's offended anyone's sensibilities, my deep and heartfelt apologies. This is just an indulgence, a test missions, and afternoon session, and yes, there's a contest. And people need to express themselves in a variety of ways. So at this point, I will depart these shores and we'll speak again. Well, I won't speak, but we'll play again, hopefully, next time. vk3sl. Going